Like my father, I never backed down from challenges. So here I am, a little new to the convention scene. What happens when rumors of Donald Trump's daughter facing life imprisonment rises up, especially when legal cases have failed to put the man himself behind bars for years? How did Tiffany Trump, one of the few low-key members of the Trump dynasty, get embroiled in this level of legal conflicts? As far as we've always known, she's been brought up with the storyline of a fairy tale Disney princess for the longest time, even termed the Forgotten Trump, after choosing to stay away from the family business and political drama. Join us as we take a look into her life, and when exactly this private princess got flung into the spotlight, and in such a harsh way when the name Trump is mentioned. People often think of power wealth and a family heavily involved in business politics and media attention. In this dynasty lurks a member far removed from all of that. The early life of Tiffany Trump. Tiffany Ariana Trump was born on October 13th, 1993. And like her younger step-siblings, she is the only child of President Donald Trump and his second wife, Marla Maples. From the beginning, her life seemed to mirror that of a Disney princess. Close to the hospital where she was born is the famous Mar-a-Lago estate, a luxurious property owned by her father in Palm Beach, Florida. Donald Trump acquired the estate originally built in the 1920s and 1985, and invested millions to transform it into an opulent retreat that garnered envy from his contemporaries by 1994. Just a year after her birth, he decided to leverage this envy by turning Mar-a-Lago into an exclusive private club for the wealthy elite, complete with extravagant amenities, typical of a five-star resort. And beyond for Tiffany, the estate was a modern-day fairy tale playground filled with adventures, large play areas, sparkling pools, tennis courts, and even a golf course in 1998. Her fifth birthday party in the Mar-a-Lago Grand Ballroom was truly enchanting. Arrived dressed as a mermaid next to a Titanic-themed cake, surrounded by lavish gifts, just for her. Unfortunately, the storybook life she enjoyed came to an abrupt end when her parents divorced in 1999. While her mother, Marla Maples, received custody, she maintained a close relationship with her father, often spending holidays and vacations at Mar-a-Lago, a Thanksgiving photo that emerged in the early 2000s, showing her with family, including half-brother Eric, half-sister Ivanka, and Ivanka's mother highlights that, despite the divorce, Mar-a-Lago remained an integral part of her life. She cherished the estate's annual Easter egg hunts, and often appeared in family photos from those events. In 2007, she was seen with her stepmother Melania and younger half-brother Barron during the celebrations, affectionately called Tiff by her loved ones. She was always a beloved member of the Trump family, and perhaps influenced by Melania, she developed a similar inclination towards privacy like her and Barron's. While she shares some similarities with Barron in terms of privacy, it's clear that Tiffany was never really given a clear role in the Trump empire. Even as she matured, her efforts to close the gap seemed minimal. She followed her father's academic path, attending the University of Pennsylvania, and later pursuing a law degree at Georgetown University. Some believed this was her way of finding a spot within the family's domain. But in truth, she was never fully integrated into it. Her position as an accepted outsider within her own family was clear. She lacked a defined role in the Trump empire, occasionally appearing at Republican national conventions or campaign rallies. But her presence often felt more like a symbolic gesture, rather than one of authority or influence. As Donald Trump's political career soared, the divide between Tiffany and the rest of the family became increasingly evident. Ivanka emerged as her father's closest ally, significantly influencing policy and public relations. Donald Jr. and Eric took active roles in defending the Trump image against critics and the media. In contrast, Tiffany remained on the margins, delivering speeches in support of her father, but her words lacked the impact of her siblings. Gradually, an unmistakable hierarchy within the Trump family surfaced. Ivanka Donald Jr. and Eric functioned as a cohesive unit, bonded by shared childhood experiences and a collective desire to uphold the cool Trump name. While Tiffany, raised in a different environment, found it difficult to relate. Even Barron Trump, the youngest sibling, appeared to have a more established role within the family. Protected and guided by Melania, Trump's influence, she was always around, welcomed, but seemingly never fully integrated, while her role was questionable. Her father, stepmother, and half-siblings all seemed to love her, at least regardless of her lack of involvement in core matters. Reports from trusted sources even claim that despite his busy schedule, Donald Trump was always attentive to Tiffany, never missing a call from her, even when it was just to listen to her complain about bad salmon roe in Queens, while she was also getting a balanced dose of life from her mother. Tiffany's unique position in the Trump family was recognized by everyone, including her siblings, and father Ivanka has often praised her for her confidence, determination, and strong work ethic. In fact, Ivanka kept Tiffany out of the public eye during their father's campaign, only stepping in for a standout speech at the Republican National Convention. The bond she formed with her step-siblings was unexpected, since they didn't grow up together, particularly Ivanka and Barron. However, this was due to Marla's subtle influence on Tiffany's perspective, as she always encouraged her to view them as family, rather than just half-siblings. This perspective allowed the siblings to forge a genuine connection, seemingly free of jealousy or resentment. Speaking to the media, Marla said, "Whatever happened between me and her father, I've always wanted Tiffany to have strong relationships with her siblings. I love them all, and I'm incredibly proud of them. They've always been good to Tiffany." Various photos also indicate they share a positive relationship, such as a 1996 image of young Tiffany playing with Ivanka in the Trump Tower penthouse. Ivanka later told People, "Tiffany and I always spend holidays together, and we talk often. She's my little sister, and I love her." Her relationship with Barron is equally strong for his 13th birthday. She shared a playful photo of them laughing together at the Republican National Convention. A year later, she expressed her feelings for his 14th birthday, writing "Happy birthday" to the best little brother ever. "You mean so much to me. Barron, love you." Even during her time at Georgetown Law, she made frequent visits to the White House to spend time with him. In 2020, she earned her law degree, making her father proud, and he was vocal about it, as he told the media, "Great student, great school. Every family needs a lawyer proud of you." Tiff, while inviting her to the White House to celebrate her mother, Marla Maples also expressed her delight to the media, sharing how Tiffany often stayed up for days studying. She emphasized Tiffany's strong work ethic, highlighting that her achievements were the result of hard work and determination. Though primarily focused on academics, her interest extended beyond that, as she had a passion for music as well. At the age of 17, she released a single, "Like a Bird," which showcased her creative talents to the world. She also interned at Vogue, thanks to Ivanka, where she dined with Anna Wintour and attended global fashion shows. During the summers, she pursued internships in media, gaining valuable practical experience. Ivanka once mentioned, "Tiffany doesn't pretend life is easy. She works hard for everything she's achieved, and she's proud of it." It was evident that she was a girl with diverse interests and a determination to pursue them all. It was equally clear that politics wasn't a primary focus for her, and perhaps this was the first clear sign of her exclusion from the inner Trump circle. Tiffany's departure from the Trump inner circle was slow but clear in Donald Trump's realm. Being part of the inner circle is not a given by just sharing his name. It must be earned, defended, and continually reinforced loyalty, visibility, and strategic significance determine one's status within the Trump family. Those who cannot meet these unspoken expectations often find themselves sidelined over time. Tiffany Trump, once a recognized but distant figure, seems to have been discreetly removed from the core of the family. Her exclusion has been subtle but unmistakable. While Donald Trump is actively engaged with Ivanka Donald Jr. and Eric in political and business, Tiffany has become absent from critical conversations about the future of the Trump legacy as her father navigated political struggles, legal issues, and efforts to solidify his standing. Those closest to him were responsible for shaping the narrative. However, despite sharing the Trump name, she has been excluded from these crucial moments. This exclusion was deemed to be deliberate by most, and a signal of a strategic realignment. A clear sign of her reduced role is the striking lack of public acknowledgement from her father. Donald Trump, known for praising his children when it benefits him, rarely mentions her, aside from when she got her law degree. In speeches, interviews, and social media, her name is noticeably absent in a family where visibility equates to power. Her absence is noteworthy. At the same time, Ivanka remains a trusted advisor. Donald Jr. and Eric actively promote Trump's political ambitions, and even Baron Trump safeguarded by Melania's. Influence has a clearer role in the family hierarchy, especially after his strategy in Donald's recent campaign helped earn the youth votes. Conversely, Tiffany has faded from the public eye. This change may be based not only on personal preferences, but also on strategic reasons. With increasing legal challenges and a persistent political agenda, Donald needs a tightly controlled inner circle to portray an image of unity and strength. He cannot afford to have weak links in the harsh hierarchy of the Trump empire. Any family member who does not actively contribute to that image risks permanent exclusion. Tiffany Trump's relative independence, her limited engagement in her father's business endeavors, and her minimal political involvement may have made her a prime candidate for quiet exclusion. Unlike her half-siblings, who are deeply integrated into Trump's sphere of influence, she has not fully embedded herself in the family's power structure. She has always been on the outskirts of the empire, never truly a part of it. Another factor in her diminishing role could be Melania. Trump's rising influence. Unlike Tiffany Melania's son, Barron has a direct supporter, ensuring his place in the Trump legacy with Melania, strategically positioning Barron for a future within the family's network of power. Tiffany, without a similar advocate, has continued to recede into obscurity, lacking a strong internal supporter to champion her inclusion. Her status within the Trump empire has nearly faded away. The closest change for a resurgence and embedment into the Trump empire came with her marriage into the Boulos family, which could potentially have vast political implications. Her marriage, Tiffany's too. Marriage to Michael Boulos may have been the shift she needed while the Trump family attended her extravagant wedding at Mar-a-Lago. The atmosphere felt more formal than genuinely familial. Unlike her siblings, whose financial and career futures are closely linked with the Trump brand, her marriage has placed her outside that realm. Boulos, hailing from a wealthy and independent business lineage, provides Tiffany with financial security. Separate from her father's empire, this distance, whether planned or incidental, further emphasizes her separation from the Trump narrative. The lingering question is, was Tiffany's exclusion simply a matter of circumstances, or was it a calculated decision for reasons yet to be unveiled? We may never find the answer first. How did she perhaps meet her billionaire husband, whose father jumped onto Donald's bandwagon? Tiffany Trump's chance encounter happened in the summer of 2018 on the beautiful beaches of Mykonos. The location was Lindsay Lohan's upscale beach club, where upbeat music, clear waves, and a carefree atmosphere made anything seem attainable. There her eyes met those of Michael Boulos, who would transform her life forever. However, Michael was not just another charming holidaymaker, swimming through the Mykonos' nightlife. He was born in Lebanon and raised in Nigeria, and as part of the esteemed Boulos family, this was a business dynasty with ventures scattered throughout Africa and the Middle East. From motorcycle sales to industrial production, the Boulos brand was a symbol of significant wealth and influence. Yet Michael was more than simply an heir, as he was already quietly carving out his own path as a young director in the family's successful businesses in his early 20s. As for Tiffany, she lived under the relentless scrutiny of the public eye, with her life defined by a famous surname, and a father who frequently made headlines. At that time, she was pursuing a law degree at Georgetown University, while actively participating in elite social circles. Their encounter at the well-known beach bar was nothing short of remarkable. Tiffany, with her trendy upbringing, an American appeal, and Michael, who boasts a diverse cultural background and a business-focused lifestyle, experienced an instant connection. Their love story, however, involved more than just the two of them. It encompassed two families, two cultures, and two very different sets of expectations. Tiffany's life was permanently intertwined with the Trump name, subjecting her to constant public scrutiny due to her father's controversial political presence, despite her absence from the inner circle. Meanwhile, Michael's family prioritized tradition and privacy, preferring to stay out of the public eye. Their wedding in 2022 had all the makings of a fairy tale. Two wealthy, influential families were joining forces, reminiscent of something from a magazine. However, a closer inspection reveals that there is much more beneath the surface than just lavish parties and beautiful social media posts. Tiffany, the daughter of former and newly elected U.S. President Donald Trump, and Michael, a businessman, with strong connections to both Nigeria and Lebanon. This difference was significant and politically interesting. Tiffany found herself stepping into a culture that emphasizes discretion, legacy, and a strong corporate presence, while simultaneously being connected to a family that is known for its bold and unapologetic involvement in business and politics. There was an extra layer to the situation, as her half-siblings Donald Jr., Eric and Ivanka, have spent years engaging in political discussions, business ventures, and media attention, whereas Tiffany has always chosen to keep a low profile. She was never one to make sensational statements or be at the forefront of her father's political endeavors, as she preferred a life away from public scrutiny. However, this dynamic changed after her marriage to Michael. Suddenly, she was no longer seen as Donald Trump's overlooked daughter. She had become part of another powerful dynasty, complete with its own rules, expectations, and challenges. Tiffany Trump was drawn back into the public eye, but this time it involved balancing two significant legacies: the Trump name and the deeply ingrained traditions of the Boulos family. And this balancing act was no small feat. With her marriage, her relationship with her father further evolved, and she was drifting back into his inner circles. The relationship between Donald Trump and his daughter Tiffany, has experienced a notable transformation over the years. particularly during his presidency, their relationship appeared stable. And while they weren't, the closest father-daughter pair, they would occasionally have phone conversations. However, over time, those discussions became less frequent, sometimes stretching for months without any contact. Tiffany's first significant moment in Washington occurred when she attended a Wounded Warrior Project event. It was a quiet yet meaningful experience, lacking grand speeches or flashy headlines, just her being present to support her father's initiatives that reflected how Tiffany operated during those years. While her siblings, Ivanka, Donald Jr., and Eric, took center stage at major political events, making speeches, rallying supporters, and defending their father, she concentrated on other pursuits. She wasn't trying to stay in the spotlight all the time, but instead was diligently working through law school at Georgetown University, which is no small challenge, especially with the Trump name attached to her. That name followed her everywhere, providing both privilege and pressure. Despite this, Tiffany seemed determined to carve out her own identity, separate from the continual political turmoil surrounding her family naturally. As the president's daughter, the media was always watching her, even during her quieter moments in 2019. The attention on her escalated in an unexpected manner. That year, a presidential assistant named Madeleine Westerhout made an offhand comment suggesting that Donald Trump avoided taking photos with her due to her appearance. Just imagine hearing something like that about your own father from someone in his own White House. The media quickly picked up the story, transforming it into a scandal. Trump promptly attempted to dismiss it by asserting, "I love Tiffany," but by then the damage was done whether the comment was true or not, left many questioning how close Donald Trump was to his youngest daughter, despite the public speculation surrounding her relationship with her father. Tiffany Trump still made her presence known. When it was important in 2020, she spoke at the Republican National Convention, but this time her delivery had a different tone. She was not simply there to praise her father, as she had done in 2016. Instead, she conveyed a message that served as a warning about media bias and manipulated information. She highlighted how the media influences public perception and encouraged people to think independently. This was a courageous position for someone who had largely remained silent on political issues. What was particularly noteworthy was that, in contrast to Ivanka, who frequently spoke about her father in a personal way, she chose a more formal approach. She refrained from sharing touching father-daughter anecdotes and focused exclusively on supporting his policies, which was significant. Although she wasn't always in the White House, she made it a point to spend time with family during important events, celebrating holidays at Mar-a-Lago, and attending major family gatherings. Although she didn't post pictures online herself, Ivanka made sure to feature her in social media updates, subtly reminding everyone that she was still part of the family, even if she wasn't at the center of it in a family where public loyalty often felt necessary. She adeptly maintained a balance being involved, while also valuing her independence for years. Tiffany Trump has been the most private individual in the Trump family, staying out of the limelight while her father garnered attention. Yet as time passed, it became increasingly clear that, despite being a Trump, she didn't genuinely fit into that world. Despite the challenges in their relationship, Tiffany found herself in a unique situation. Unlike her siblings, she made an effort to steer clear of legal issues. Trying to stay out of the family drama was one thing, but completely escaping the legal problems that trailed the family was harder than expected. Legal inclusions in 2022. It was reported that Donald Trump was facing a lawsuit for fraud from New York's Attorney General, and his 3 adult children were also named in the case. However, it's important to note that Trump didn't just have 3 adult children. He had 4, Tiffany. Trump, the 28-year-old daughter of Trump, and his second wife, Marla Maples, was not part of the lawsuit. Unlike Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric, while reporters aimed to distinguish between Trump's adult children and his then 16-year-old son Barron, they completely overlooked Tiffany. This was not the first time she had been neglected, nor would it be the last. Even after Trump left office, this trend of being overlooked continued throughout Trump's campaigns and presidency. Her absence was so apparent that it seemed intentional. This pattern had persisted for decades and 2 or 4, Donald Trump himself told New York Magazine. I have another daughter with Marla, named Tiffany. She's just a beautiful, great kid also, but it's very separate when you have separate wives. It's sort of separate if he viewed her as an afterthought. It's not shocking that the media and public did too. Yet there may have been a silver lining to being forgotten. It let her successfully avoid the legal troubles that affected her half-siblings, while Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric were involved in various legal disputes. Tiffany was notably absent. So when exactly did she get mixed up in some of the drama during Donald Trump's presidency? Secret Service officials reportedly became worried about her increasing closeness to a particular agent described as tall, dark, and handsome. This agent's frequent interactions with her raised concerns within the agency, as detailed in Carol Leonig's book, Zero Failed: The Rise and Fall of the Secret Service. The agent was ultimately reassigned, although both he and Tiffany denied any inappropriate conduct. The specific timing of this incident during Donald Trump's presidency remains ambiguous. A spokesperson for the Secret Service declined to comment specifically about her situation, but expressed that the agency had overcome past difficulties and remained dedicated to its protective duties. Her representative dismissed the allegations, claiming that her interactions with the Secret Service were entirely professional and any speculation otherwise was just gossip. Neither Tiffany nor Vanessa Trump responded to media inquiries about the claims. By the time these rumors emerged, her personal life had already changed. Significantly, she had been in a relationship with Michael Bolos since 2019. And the couple announced their engagement the day before Donald Trump left office, in January 2nd. Chuan, Leonig's book, Zero Failed: The Rise and Fall of the Secret Service, aims to provide a comprehensive history of the agency, covering events from the Kennedy assassination to its mismanagement during the Obama and Trump administrations, and culminating in the Capitol riot on January 6th. According to The Guardian, Leonig noted that it was uncertain whether Donald Trump was aware of the alleged uncommon relationships between Secret Service agents and his daughter Tiffany and daughter-in-law Vanessa Trump. The book also documented his complaints about certain Secret Service agents, claiming some were too overweight for their positions. He reportedly expressed frustration about their physical fitness, allegedly saying, "I want these obese guys off my detail. How are they going to protect me and my family if they can't run down the street in one of his last actions as president before leaving office in January 2021? Trump made the unusual choice to extend Secret Service protection for 6 months to all of his adult children, including Tiffany Trump. Normally, former presidents and first ladies receive lifetime security, but their adult children typically do not receive ongoing protection, a Secret Service source shared with People that the 6-month extension was intended as a transition period for his children. Any further extension would have required approval from the newly inaugurated President Joe Biden after Trump lost the 2020 election. All his children, except Eric Trump, planned to move to Florida. Tiffany kept a low profile during this time, but unexpected claims about her connection to a Secret Service agent caught attention. Another shocking revelation has brought her name back into the spotlight. Was she truly a victim of blackmail during Donald Trump's hush money trial? An unexpected revelation arose concerning Tiffany Trump and an alleged blackmail attempt shortly before the 2016 election. At that time, Tiffany had been a relatively low-key member of the Trump family, avoiding the political spotlight. Unlike her half-siblings, Donald Jr., Eric, and Ivanka. During cross-examination, Donald's lead attorney, Todd Blanche, questioned Michael Cohen regarding the purported extortion attempt involving Tiffany. Blanche utilized this line of inquiry to suggest that Cohen's communications with Donald in October 2nd, 2016 were not solely related to the payment to Stormy Daniels. Blanche specifically asked about an incident on October 25th, 2016, when Tiffany reportedly reached out to Cohen because she was concerned that someone was attempting to blackmail her. Cohen confirmed that he promptly addressed the issue by contacting David Pecker, Tiffany and others involved. Her name was mentioned just one day after Cohen testified. He used the phone of Keith Schiller, Donald Trump's long-serving security chief, to discuss hush money payments. However, Blanche tried to undermine Cohen's credibility by arguing that the phone call coincided with prank calls he was receiving from a 14-year-old. Blanche described the situation as a potential extortion attempt involving photographs, which raised questions about why Cohen hadn't informed Donald Trump about it. When questioned if addressing her issue was a priority, Cohen acknowledged it was important. "I take care of things, but it was not personally important to me." Blanche pressed on asking if Cohen had updated him during a phone call the following morning, to which Cohen denied this brief mention of Tiffany Trump was the only reference to her throughout the month-long trial. Meanwhile, Eric Trump and Donald Jr. were frequently seen at Manhattan Criminal Court, alongside Eric's wife, Laura Trump, who serves as a co-chair of the Republican National Committee. Members of the Trump family showed their support for Donald Trump as the closing arguments commenced in his hush money trial. Donald Trump Jr., Tiffany Trump, Eric Trump, and Laura Trump were observed standing behind the former president at Manhattan Criminal Court on Tuesday. They later took their seats directly behind him, accompanied by legal advisor Alina Habba. This marked a rare appearance by Tiffany Trump and her husband Michael Boulos. In contrast, former First Lady Melania. Trump Baron Trump and Ivanka Trump were noticeably missing from the trial. Basically, all these events prove that trying to get away from legal troubles or the political problems associated with the Trump name is practically impossible. One way or the other, they seem to find each and every member or associate of the family. Yet it's also proven that the Trump family and their associates are adept at dodging the incoming implications, always finding ways to clear their name, or at least throw the case into an endless cycle of contention. Tiffany Trump remains a unique presence among the Trump kids, even though her marriage pulled her close to the inner circle. She has somehow still maintained an obvious distance from the core politics and ongoings of the family and administration. What do you think about Tiffany Trump's role in the Trump family? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. To enjoy more exciting videos, click play on the video on your screen. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when a new video drops.